take a look at the active inventory levels year to year. And yes, I do have it documented from last year. I'm using a slightly wider range for the active inventory from $8.9 million up to $11.9 million because homes listed slightly above or below may be part of the same buyer choice set, and list price does not always equal the sale price. So the earliest date I have recorded is February 23rd, 2025. And as you can see on this chart, earlier in 2025, there were not many options available for the buyers. There was about 0 to 2 homes available at a time. Inventory did not start picking up until sometime in May, where on May 12th I have 4 active detached homes on market recorded, and on May 29th there were 6, okay? So that means that the sellers had either reduced into range or they came onto market during that time. Now let's compare this to when the 2025 sold homes when pending, okay? So again, last year, 2025, we had 12 sales, but 9 of them were on market. On this chart, you can see when those 9 closings went pending, okay? And clearly, there's a huge gap between February through May, because those were the exact dates or exact time that I showed you there was no active inventory. There were limited options, right? So clearly the buyers were not biting when there was limited inventory. It took about a month for them to respond after the inventory shot up, right? Because then you can see it started picking up again in June when Idle Hour and La Jolla Farms went pending about a month after their second reduction. And then from there you can see one home that sold within the $9 to $11 million range went pending per month, except in November. So clearly last year they started with limited options, but they needed more options available for the buyers in order to unlock activity. Now, on this chart, I've added the active number of homes available on market this year, except for it's the same exact dates as last year, okay? So for example, look at February 23rd, last year versus this year. Last year, we had only 1 option available on market within range. But this year, there was 7. That's a major difference. It's the complete opposite, right? So that means the buyers this year, they did not start with the same drought that they had last year. So with last year, you might be thinking, okay, well, it was a scarce environment in the beginning of the year. I mean, isn't scarcity power? Doesn't that mean that, buyers are going to bite? No, not necessarily in the high end, because the higher end does operate differently than the lower tier ranges, right? Because someone who is purchasing a property at this caliber, they may not necessarily have to move 9 times out of 10, right? Of course, there's outliers, but they may not necessarily have to move. They may have the luxury of just waiting until the right home comes along. And